I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Weeks after the last American election, the next one is coming into view.
And I'm proud to be an American.
But although the party is still mega on MAGA, many are calling on the president who made them that way.
I don't know that he's the right candidate.
He's made himself unelectable.
Trump is kind of divisive for the country.
You wonder why Republicans would go down the same dead-end road.
And there's a fresh new face in town.
Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSanctimonious.
Who is throwing Donald Trump's plans into disarray.
He's very good on his feet. He can energize a Republican crowd, and he's not about to be indicted.
It'll be fun watching them take on each other.
Florida, Donald Trump's home state, and the backdrop for his big announcement that he plans to retake the White House in 2024. But it's also home to Ron DeSantis, Florida's mega popular governor and Trump's former protege, whose recent stonking re-election win is threatening the former president's next run at the top job.
Thank you for a historic landslide victory!
So who exactly is Ron DeSantis, and could he really put a dent in Donald Trump's ambitions? Elected for governor in 2018, DeSantis has made headlines with controversial stances on COVID.
You do not have to wear those masks. I mean, please take them off.
LGBTQ rights.
We are not going to be injecting things like gender ideology into our elementary schools.
And immigration.
So that if Biden is dumping illegal aliens into Florida from the southern border, I'm rerouting them to Delaware.
But all of that has simply won him a legion of fans. Okay, pick your fighter, DeSantis or Donald Trump?
DeSantis, absolutely.
DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis. Absolutely Ron DeSantis. He's done amazing things for the state, exudes excellence and honor and integrity.
They love him because he represents freedom.
He did side with, maximum freedom during COVID, less restrictions.
He didn't put up with no BS, and he helped us.
He sort of put up his clenched fist to the liberal elite, which they love very, very much.
We reject woke ideology. Florida is where woke goes to die.
He's taken on Disney, which is something that's been very popular. They were against his position on Don't Say Gay in the curriculum in Florida.
We obviously had the big kerfluffle with Disney where we say no gender ideology in the schools.
He's done a number of things that have leaned into the culture wars that Republican primary voters very much like.
He's the greatest thing that's ever happened to Florida in the last 40 years.
His combative approach has won him fans in Florida and beyond, turning it from a swing state into a reliably red Republican base.
I think he's genuine. I don't think he would screw the country over, and there would never be another January 6th if he lost.
He stands behind his word, and that is so important, when it comes to politics. It's really hard to find somebody like that.
And yet, a lot of DeSantis' success is due to the work of one man.
Everybody needs to support Ron DeSantis.
Trump made DeSantis. DeSantis was the underdog in the gubernatorial race in 2018. It was only after Trump anointed him with his support at the last moment that DeSantis pulled out a win by less than 0.5 percentage point. Without Trump, I don't think he would be a big player in the Republican Party at all.
Ron DeSantis relied heavily on the former president's support in the early years of his governorship.
Make America great again.
People say Ron's all Trump, but he is so much more.
Big league. So good.
A relative newcomer to politics before his governorship, DeSantis served 3 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives. And before that, 6 years in the US Navy as a JAG, a military lawyer, a career choice reportedly inspired by the Tom Cruise character in A Few Good Men.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
DeSantis served in Iraq and Guantanamo Bay. And before that, DeSantis received a top-shelf education with degrees from Harvard and Yale. But his early origins were more humble. Raised in Florida, his mother was a nurse and his father installed TV boxes. A far cry from the Florida governor's mansion and $160,000 salary DeSantis now boasts. And although it was Trump who helped him achieve that dream, the governor is now firmly focused on his own accomplishments.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your governor speaking.
Today's training evolution, dogfighting, taking on the corporate media.
And DeSantis' own star was rising.
One governor is fighting back.
We're a free state.
Even traditionally Trump-friendly media has been hyping up the Florida governor.
In the Republican Party, I think DeSantis is now de facto the leader.
But for the Republican Party, a Ron-Don face-off could be the last thing they want or need.
It will be an epic battle. Donald Trump doesn't want anyone but him, obviously, to get the nomination. He's sort of a little bit like a crab in a pot. So if he can't get out of the pot, he's going to pull Ron DeSantis down with him.
Trump is still very popular among millions of Republican voters.
He would be the one I would vote for.
I think the good Lord brought him down here to take care of us.
Best president we ever had, hands down.
He's reportedly been accumulating a war chest for the campaign that is worth over $100 million.
In a matchup between the two, Trump would say, bring it on, you and what army, right? Now, if DeSantis comes with an army, that's a whole different story.
And for the Democrats, a Trump-DeSantis showdown will only help their chances in 2024.
It'll be fun watching them take on each other.
They could potentially split the party and weaken it.
The nicknames are starting, low energy jab, Ron DeSanctimonious. And actually, Republican primary voters are getting a little tired of it.
And there's a third option.
I think if he does run, by the way, and should lose to DeSantis, I think just out of spite and for the attention, he would run against DeSantis as an independent candidate and throw the election to the Democrat.
That could potentially really weaken the Republican Party because now it's split into three pieces. You have the never-Trumpers, right? You have the DeSantis supporters, and then you have the Trump supporters.
And that would mean an almost guaranteed win in 2024 for the Democratic Party.
It may end up that in 2024 we have a rematch with Donald Trump and Joe Biden, even though most Americans don't want to see that rematch.
So what are DeSantis' chances of making it to the White House? Ron DeSantis hasn't yet publicly declared his intention to run for the Republican nomination in 2024. The deadline for that is still some time away, but he's reportedly been open about his ambitions with his advisors. And here's the problem for Donald Trump. In some quarters, Ron DeSantis is simply far more popular than he is. Recent polling gave DeSantis a double-digit lead over Trump in two key states. And a poll in DeSantis' home state of Florida gave him a 26-point lead over the former president. But there are questions about whether DeSantis has the clout to cling on.
With Trump, you know what you're getting, right? He's loud, he's boisterous, but he's charismatic. DeSantis, he doesn't have that. He comes across as kind of quiet and angry.
And for independent voters, a key group in an increasingly divided America, he comes without all the baggage that Trump has.
I thought Trump was a disgrace to the nation. I don't think that Joe Biden has done a bad job. I think he's getting a bad rap. If Biden had to lose, I'd rather see DeSantis 100% than Donald Trump.
I think a DeSantis presidency would look just like a Trump presidency. The only difference would be the look and feel of it, right? But from a policy perspective, I think they're on the exact same page.
We fight the woke in the legislature. We fight the woke in the schools. We fight the woke in the corporations. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob.
But there's still a long way to go before the next election. Almost 2 years. A lot can change, and there are other players on the field who could challenge DeSantis or Trump for the Republican nomination. But with Ron DeSantis rising in the polls and in the awareness of American voters, the chances of him becoming president shouldn't be dismissed.